Do you wake up in the middle of the night with hands that feel completely dead and numb? Do you find yourself violently shaking your wrists to get the blood flowing back into your fingers? Are you dropping coffee cups because your grip feels weak? Have you been diagnosed with carpal tunnel syndrome, but wearing a wrist brace does absolutely nothing to stop the pain? If you checked these boxes, you might be walking into a massive surgical trap. You likely do not have a wrist problem. You have a neck problem. A herniated disc in your cervical spine is strangling the nerve, creating a fake carpal tunnel syndrome. To understand why your hand is numb, you must look at the wiring of the human body. Think of the nerve traveling to your fingers like a long water hose. The water faucet is located up in your neck at your cervical spine. The hose travels down your arm, passes through a narrow tunnel in your wrist, and ends at your fingers. Carpal tunnel syndrome happens when someone steps on the hose down at the wrist. But fake carpal tunnel happens when the wrist is perfectly fine, but a bulging spinal disc is clamping down on the faucet up in your neck. The end result is exactly the same. No water reaches the fingers, and your hand goes numb. There is a dangerous medical trap called double crush syndrome. Often, a patient has a severe pinch in their neck, making the entire nerve highly sensitive. When they go to a local doctor, the doctor only tests the wrist. They schedule open surgery to cut the ligaments in the patient's hand. This is a catastrophic error. The patient endures the pain, the scarring, and the cost of wrist surgery. But when they wake up, their fingers are still completely numb. Why? Because the surgeon fixed the nozzle, but the heavy spinal disc is still crushing the faucet up in your neck. You cannot fix a spinal injury by cutting open a wrist. You cannot find the true source of the numbness by just tapping on the wrist. To find the mechanical truth, we must trace the entire electrical cable. First, we use a nerve conduction study, or EMG, to test the electrical current traveling down your arm. This tells us exactly where the signal is slowing down. Second, and most importantly, we must demand a high-definition cervical spine MRI. We look specifically at the C5, C6, and C7 spinal levels. We are hunting for the exact millimeter where a degenerated disc or an arthritic bone spur is stabbing into the nerve root before it even enters your arm. If the MRI proves the pinch is in your neck, the treatment changes entirely. We use a strict two-step protocol. Step 1. Target the cervical spine. We do not touch your wrist. Instead, we decompress the nerve root in your neck. Depending on the size of the herniation, we can often use minimally invasive techniques like percutaneous laser disc decompression. We insert a tiny needle into the disc in your neck and vaporize the pressure. Step 2. Nerve regeneration. Once the clamp is removed from the faucet, the electrical signal flows freely down the arm, and the numbness in your fingers naturally disappears. If you have numb hands and a doctor wants to cut open your wrists without ever looking at a scan of your neck, you must stop immediately. Do not undergo surgery blindly. Let our expert neurosurgeons review your complete medical imaging. Click the link in the description to upload your cervical MRI or EMG reports to our secure portal. Let us trace the nerve, give you a definitive second opinion, and ensure you are treating the true source of your pain.